Hey, what's up guys? In this video, I'm going to be setting up the movement and camera rotation for a first-person character in a blank Unreal Engine 5 project. This basically has nothing in it, and we're going to be setting things up. I'm going to be doing it in such a way so that it's kind of easily digestible, and I introduce things for the person who kind of just opened up UE5 and they're like, what's going on here? So I thought it'd be fun and it'd be a great exercise. I haven't done tutorial videos in a very long time, so I might be a little bit rusty. But I thought this would be a fun exercise and stuff like that. So this is the blank project. This is the basic kind of starter level. I'll just open up a new level just for fun. We'll open up the default and we won't save this. And this is what it looks like. It's the same thing. What it consists of are, I guess, a couple of actors. We got the floor and we have the player start. Now, these are the two things that I kind of want you to focus on. The rest of these are, reflection capture and the light and the atmospheric fog. You can see these things up here as well. But we have the player start, and this is essentially where the player will start, and we can move it around if we want. We'll just set it right there. And we hit play, and well, we snap to that position, and we can actually use the mouse to look around and press W to move forward. But we're in like this fly mode sort of thing, which is the default kind of thing. Like when there's no player movement, or I mean, character actor set by the game mode. And when there's no game mode, it just goes to the default. So I'm going to briefly kind of run you through what that is. So, right, we hit play. The game is like, all right, we have all this stuff here. We're in this level, which is called Untitled, which is kind of hipster, but whatever. Hit play, go to this position as the player character because we want to start there. There's no player character, but whatever. All right, so we got to make one. But there's no use making a player character. We can just make one right now. We can go to we can right click here and hit blueprint class, and there's a number of different blueprint classes. There's just the generic actor, which is like everything. This will all become clear later on. And the goal of this video is to get the person who's starting out to be like, aha, oh, I get it now. Okay. And like, don't worry about if you don't get some of the things that I'm saying. It's a very deep program. But we have Blueprint, which is something you can drop into the world that has functionality. There's actor, there's pawn, and there's character. So pawn and character are basically the same. The pawn is something that can be possessable either by a controller or an AI, which is basically a controller. But it doesn't have a whole lot of functionality built into it. The character is derived from the pawn class. You can open up the character, and the character has some really cool things built into it. And we'll see that in a bit compared to the regular pawn. So this will be, I'll just call this my char, right? This isn't usually my naming convention, but whatever. And we see this very lit guy right here. Those weren't cookies, obviously. LOL. Such an idiot. I haven't done this in a very long time, so I might say some dumb stuff. So we'll double click on this, and it'll open up, whoa, a whole new world here. And we'll see this object here, and then this arrow. And these are other components. You have actors, and you can add components to them. So this would be a capsule component. This is collision. This is the player collision, and this is what you kind of bump into, and this prevents you from going through a wall. And it's a collision cylinder, and all games kind of have collision, and they all have player collision, and that's what's going on there. And this was automatically created, and it is inherited, right? So these are all of the components in my char, right? Inherited means that they derive them from the character parent class, which is a C++ class, which is, if I click on that, we can open it in Visual Studio. You can make your own parent classes and have childs derived from them, which is pretty dope. And it offers you some really interesting functionality down the line. So there's all of these inherited objects and things like that in there. I'll just move this over to here. If I were to, just for fun, right-click, open up a Blueprint class, and added an actor, I won't even name it because I'm going to delete it. I can add the actor. We have basically no derived anything, no derived functionality, because it's like the head honcho. It's just an actor. Like you can make a character out of this actor. You can drag and drop capsule component and movement, and the movement component in here, obviously, right? So we can do that. We can add our capsule collision. We can do that, but just for the sake of convenience, it's already there, right? Basically, this can just be actor and nothing else, and you can make all of these classes from it. And there's a bunch of different classes that you can have. And yeah, that's just a whole new world and something to figure out down the line. So yeah, I'll just get rid of that. Hopefully that makes sense. So we've created an actor that derives functionality from the character parent class, which drives functionality from an actor, right? So this is just a child of the actor class. Anyway, hope that made sense. So awesome, you're thinking. Let's yeah, we have our mychar now. We can hit play, and oh, nothing happens. The reason why is because, you know, we can add as many character classes as we want. The game is not gonna know what mychar the player is, and like what to control and how to control it. And we have to set that up. And we set that up with something called the game mode. So your viewport will kind of look like this. And you know, it has the detail for each of the actors in your level here, including this one, the player's start. You can't set it to a particular, you can't set it to this. You can't point to it. It's just the basic player start. We actually have to tell it what player to start with and how to control it. Anyway, I've said that like a couple times, which is kind of ridiculous, but I'm a little rusty. So we have to go into the world settings. And if you're not seeing the world settings, you can go into Window and hit World Settings, right? And in the world settings, we can select something called the game mode. The game mode is think of it as, I guess, an actor that loads first, and the game mode will like kind of tell the game how to play. There's a kind of a deeper explanation for it, but what it does is, I just don't want to overwhelm. What it does is it kind of tells everyone what to do and how to do it, and what like initially kind of set things up. So right now the game mode is none, and we can have a drop down here. We can select one in the game mode and game mode base. You know, be careful of which ones those are. The game mode, this is just the default one when nothing else, and we don't want that, because if we select that and, like, you know, who knows what's going to happen. We have to add our own kind of functionality here. Let's hit this new blueprint. This will automatically create a game mode blueprint. So we'll do that, and it'll create a new folder called blueprints, which is pretty smart. And this will be called my game mode, right? And this will be the game mode there. And it creates a new folder, and inside that folder will be the game mode. And it automatically selected the my game mode in the game mode drop down here. Let's open that. And we don't need to worry about the, game modes can have like scene stuff in it and other objects within it. But what we're looking at here is the different classes to point to. There's a number of different ones here. The default pawn class, that would be player, unless otherwise specified. Right now it's the default pawn, which I'm assuming is the fly-through one, which is in engine. We can drop down this one and oh, look at that, neat, my char. And that will say, hey, when we hit play and we get we'll hit compile and save. We hit play and we populate our scene in our level and we want to, do stuff. There's a player start here. All right, cool. What player do we use? Well, we got to use, my char. And, there it is right there for the override, or we can just reset the default so it'll be like that all the time. Each level can have its own game mode. Each level can have its own default game mode classes, which are all these down here. So yeah, right now we hit play and things are a little bit different. I'm moving my mouse, I'm trying to move around, but we've effectively kind of possessed and created. We can actually see it right here. See my char, right? My char is now in there, right? All of these yellowy ones are ones that have been loaded when we've launched the game. It automatically made a camera actor because there is none, and that's what we're looking through. It loaded the network, session, state, the HUD, all of these default things. These all came from the game mode, automatically populated, which is pretty cool. We're still simulating. I just alt-tabbed out like a weirdo. So we can stop the simulation, and then we're back in there. And yeah, that's basically where we went, which is pretty cool. And then all those were deleted, and we're back in editor. Hit play again. We possess that. It creates all the stuff we need from the game mode, which is pretty cool, right? The HUD corresponds, all these things, and things like that. Game mode kind of controls all. There's there's game mode, and then there's game instance, and those things are different. But we'll get into that in a later video. So let's hop into my char. My char is pretty cool, but it has no way of kind of looking. It creates a camera automatically, right? Because the game, the engine's like, okay, well, you got to be able to see through something. We'll just create a camera and put it at wherever it is. And that's all well and good, and that prevents, I don't know, you seeing nothing. But we got to add a camera to this. It doesn't come automatically because there's multiple kind of cameras you can choose from. You can even create your own camera, and then even some you wouldn't even want a camera, which, yeah, I'm getting ahead of myself. So we're going to go add, and we're going to add a component, right? Search component to this. There's a number of components you can add, but we're going to add a camera. And that looks like a camera to me. And what it did for some reason is it parented, or it like attached itself to the mesh. I don't want that. I just want to just move it so it attaches to this guy right here. So that gets into something else with kind of attachment of objects. Just because I did that, I'll just show you. So we can have, we can add another component, which is the cube, right? And I can move that cube down, right? I have the cube selected, I can move it down. And if I move the camera, because the cube is attached to the camera, they move both. And this is like super powerful, how it handles this attachment. It's very efficient and it's very fast. Because let's say like you want to rotate this, how would you do the math to, when camera rotates, rotate the cube based on distance? That's crazy. Let's not do that. It's just, super neat, and you can do this runtime as well, and things just work, and it's pretty nice. So we have our camera there, And yeah, we can kind of move it up and down. Think of this as the character. Just imagine a character in there, right? We wouldn't see through our crotch. We would have our camera up here a little bit, right? And this would be eye level. And something else worth noting is this arrow here. This arrow is the forward vector, right? That's the fancy way of saying it. It's basically the direction that you are facing. So, like, imagine just from your chest or your crotch, you had an arrow that pointed forwards. And that's basically telling you like which direction it is, which is useful. Like, say if you added a camera and you didn't know, and you're like, oh, that's great. I'm gonna add the camera here. So you basically be facing this way, but you'll be looking to your left. So when you would move and you just kind of pan, which is not particularly useful. So I'll just move that back to that. Actually, I'll just, because we get our floating stuff, I'll just move that to there. Right. So detail panel, you can do all sorts of fun stuff. So this would be great for eye level, and we'll compile and save. And just for fun, we'll drag it into there. And that's basically what it'll look like. And we got a little camera preview here. I'll move that there. And yeah, we have field of view and we have camera height, and that's pretty nice. All right, so let's hit play. And we can't move around. We have to implement movement. How do you do that? I'm scared. Basically, we're gonna do this kind of baby steps. And the reason why is because I had a hard time kind of understanding this when I first started out. Still do, but I wish that videos and stuff kind of explained it to me in this way. I would have understood it. I mean, if you can figure it out. No, sorry. Did that in reverse. If I can figure this out, then you can. I'm not that great at a lot of things. But just keep at it and you'll get it, and it'll be very rewarding. So we want to move like WASD, right? In the mouse button. I'm not able to do that right now. I want to implement some movement and controls. Well, holy crap, there's already that built in. Character movement handles movement logic for the associated character owner. It supports various movement modes, including walking, flying, swimming, all the fun stuff. So it's really cool, and it's C++, and it's built in, so it's super fast. You click on it, and you have all this cool stuff already built in. You can obviously make your own with like forces and stuff like that. But yeah, we have control over the gravity scale, your maximum acceleration in centimeters, so how fast you can start running at full speed, braking factor, all that stuff, crouch height, all sorts of fun stuff, your mass, all the things, maximum step height going upstairs or like other platforms, and how fast you fall down, 420, nice. All of these things, they're built in. So let's tap into this, and let's first get the camera to move. That'd be great. That'd be really great. I'd really like that. So we're gonna go, right now we're in the viewport. We're gonna go into the event graph. So there's a number of things in these blueprint actors. There's a viewport, which shows you what's going on. All of these things you can move around. Think of it as like a mini level, right, that you populate with a lot of components. It's really cool. And then you have your construction script, which is very useful, but we're not going to use it in this. The construction script is different than the event graph. Construction script does things in editor, so it can actually spawn things in the editor. So, you can automate things and do all sorts of cool stuff. This happens in the editor, and then it's kind of packaged in-game. This will save you a lot of time. We'll get into that in a later video, because this is basically like done a lot of work for me. Really cool. Let's go to the event graph. So I'm assuming you've kind of delved into blueprints a bit, and you know you've had a great time. And myself, I don't I can't, well, I kind of can, but how my brain works coming from the audio world, I'm into like connecting things and looking at my logic in a visual way. I'm a visual person. I can't look at Notepad++. It drives me nuts. Um, I mean, I don't know. I shouldn't complain. But blueprints is just how I like to work. I make little functions in C++, but this is how I like to work, and it's really great. So what I want to do is I want to start moving the camera around, right? So let's get a reference to our camera, right? This is our camera component. This is what we're looking through, and it's automatically set up. It's like, yeah, how it works with multiple cameras, I would have to look that up for you. But if you have a camera, it'll automatically look through it, and we can go kaboom. So we have a reference to the camera. I'm just kind of going over what I'm going to say in the future. Let's actually not do it this way, because instead of adding a graph, we can just hit a button. Okay, ignore me. So let's go and think about what we want to do. So I want to move my mouse and have my character look up, look down, look left, look right. So let's get our mouse. Actually, I'll go into the palette. I prefer to go into the palette because I can just look through things and discover nodes that way. So if you don't see the palette, go into Window, Palette. It'll pop up over here or somewhere. And yeah, I want to go to some mouse events. So yeah, we have mouse X and mouse Y. This will just get the value. We have no way to get it. So I mean, we can get it through a like a tick, but you don't want to do that, right? So all right, so let's go over here. Oh, mouse events. So there's a number of mouse events. So we can go mouse X, nice, and then mouse Y, right? So X would be the like up, and mouse Y would be left to right, or up and down, left and right. And yeah, let's just quickly take a look at what we're doing here. I'm going to do a print string, and yeah, let's just read the X value and see what it's doing. You'll see what's happening here. So a print string is something that's really cool. It fires off and prints to your screen, and we can see it down here. Okay, yeah. So I'm moving around, and it's giving me, you know, different values that you know, the mouse is kind of accelerating in. So I have a float left to right, and it's in the positive and in the negative. Hopefully you can see that. Let me go into my class, class defaults, set my tick interval to 0.2. Remind me that I set that in case something breaks later on down the line. All right, so it's a little bit, no. Let's just go every 5. So it won't accumulate, but whatever, it's fine. What the heck? Tick interval in second. Okay, well, I don't know why it's ticking all the time. Oh, because it's from the, okay, never mind. LOL. So basically you have to take my word for it. If I were to, yeah, I really want to show you. Yeah. So that will get the value from that. I'm hoping. There we go. Right, so every second it's getting that value. And there's that schmutz there. But yeah, basically it's a value. And when it's 0, nothing's happening. And when I'm moving, the value is changing. And yeah, that's happening every event tick, but is basically happening like every frame when the mouse is moving. So we can get that value. So what do we do with that value? You could set the camera in and then, you know, add rotation and all that fun stuff, but there's something built in. And over here, we can use pawn control. If the camera component is placed on a pawn, should it use the view control rotation of the pawn where possible? Yeah, that saves a bunch of functionality, and that would be in the options. Right? If the camera is attached to a pawn, which a character is because it derives from the pawn class, we're all gravy. So how do we get the input to that? We actually don't even need to talk to the camera. It just grabs the input from the controller. So let's try controller. Yeah, so we got our pawn here. We can add controller pitch, which would be up, down, and the yaw, which would be left, right. Basically, rotational values. All right, let's get those in there. And roll would be kind of like, you know, rolling, like do a barrel roll. Let's drop these guys in. So, yeah, let's get this axis value into here, right? And this will output a value on the left and right. Oh, no, never mind. I did that wrong. This is reversed. So pitch, X is left and right. So we'll do that. We'll add that value to there. And yeah, we got the yaw. So now I'm moving left and right. Right? And I can move my camera now, which is cool. Right? Can't move my body around, can't look up and down, but I can move left and right. So I can be like a security camera or something. That's all well and good. So let's attach this to the pitch. So the up and down will be affected. Hit play. Okay, I can move around now. But my look up and down is inverted, which kind of throws me off. throws me up. Oh man. So basically, I need to take this value, which at rest is 0. It goes 1, positive 1, and then in the negative 1. What I can do is I can just invert that, and I invert that is just with a piece of math. Multiply float. I just typed in that like that star symbol thing. You can also type in multi. It'll add in an operator, and operators are kind of agnostic now. They don't know, they're like a wild card. So yeah, you can just drop that in and then get that. We can do -1, and that effectively inverts the pitch there. So let's give it a play. Nice. So yeah, now we have camera movement. It's pretty neat. Okay, so let's get some player movement here. Right. So how would we go about doing that? Well, I want to hit the W key and do stuff. So let's just start with that. So I'll hit W space and then key. And oh, look at that. We have all of our keyboard events. We can do W. The problem here, if you can see what it is, let me know. But yeah, we have our W key. Let's just do a little sanity check. We'll print string. And then when W is hit, we'll say hello. Hello, top left. Every time I press it, press. Nice. Okay. So let us get some player movement in here. So I want to move forward. So player move. I look up movement. Let's see here. Okay, so we have AI. We don't need that. Player movement chain. Okay, that's a different thing. I wanna get player movement. Okay, so we're in pawn components, character movement, which would be this class right here. We can get that class and do stuff with it. We have disable movement and all that. Let's can change the movement mode, so like walking to running. Oh, pawn movement, right? That sounds a little bit better. Now, input. We can mouse over that. Add movement into along a given world direction vector, usually normalized, scaled by scale value. That's what we want. We want that for a number of reasons, which I'll get into a little bit later. So yeah, we got add player, add movement input. Nice. Okay. So I guess yeah, if I look at this and I drop that in, nothing's gonna happen because there's no direction. No direction here because like, hey, move forward, but it's like we don't know where. Like this player movement is kind of dumb. Like it doesn't know the forward movement, right? So take this capsule, which everything is attached to, right? This capsule has everything in it. You want this capsule to attempt to move in a direction, but it doesn't know. Can't just say move in a just move, and it'll be like, I don't know what to do, my dude. I can't help you. You have to tell it what the forward direction is, and everything else just kind of is derived from that. Well, look at this. We got the arrow component, and that's the forward vector. And that's all well and good, but the camera also has a forward vector, and where we're looking, we probably want to go in that direction, right? You look this way, you want to go forward, you're going to go forward. You want to go forward. You don't want to go like left when you want to go forward. That'd be kind of stupid. So we want to get the forward vector of the camera. So we can do that by dropping in the camera, get reference to that camera, and then I'll just type in forward vector, context sensitive. Nice. Okay, let's look at this because this is very important, and I'll do my tick here, and then let's get our print string going on. I'll go back into here. I want to set my tick to every frame because I do that sort of thing. I'll go into my print string here and I'll set the duration to 0. So that means that it'll only appear for one frame. I can drop this into the string and this will give me the forward vector of the camera every frame. Let's look at this data. You can see it up there. I don't know why it's giving me 2. Why are you giving me 2? Oh, you know why? Because we have both. We have 2 mychars in the scene. So yeah, my bad. So when you have 2, like they'll both tick and they'll both print a screen. So there you go. All right. So we have a number of different kind of values here, right? So this is normalized, right? So the highest value you can ever get is 1, right? So right around, okay, so if I hit play and I don't touch anything, the x is the forward vector of 1, right? I move it, and like the y is kind of taking over, and then now the y, well, negative y is the forward vector, right? You have 2 kind of numbers here, right? And this will, when you take this, when they're normalized, you can do some really interesting math because it's, you know, a value from 0 to 1, and you can multiply that and do some cool stuff with it. But this we're going to feed into the movement, the player movement, and this will say, hey, move in the X and Y direction, you know, at those relative values, right? So if this was, say, if it said move forward and the value was 1 for X only, it says, oh, okay, we'll just move in the X direction only, right? And we can kind of split the difference here. This all kind of makes sense a little bit later. I'm not explaining it right, but the add movement input basically says just move in this direction, the world direction. All right, let's do that, and kaboom, and yeah. So we hit W. We should be moving in a direction, and it's barely moving because I'm holding it, and it's only firing once. It's not firing all the time like the mouse is, right? So yeah, let me get that. Yeah. All right, so, whoa. Okay, so check this out. I'm pressing and holding W. It's only firing once. Oh no. And yeah, just do that. But the mouse X and mouse Y is always firing. It's always evaluating what your mouse is doing. That's why it's so smooth. So like, yeah, I want to get forward. How do I do this? Well, we've been doing it all wrong. And I'll set this up right now because these are all the things here. So when you have like a control, like an input, and you want to like evaluate it every frame, you want to go into your project and get that sorted, right? Because the mouse events, the X and Y, it's just inherited and it's all well and good, but W, it's not going to know if it's like pressed. You could set up some logic and using tick. I'll just show you because yeah, let's set up a gate, right? So a gate is something that will let data flow through it when a condition is met. When it's open, so we press W, the gate will open, press release, the gate will close. And I'll actually show you how this works, right? So event tick is ticking every frame into that gate. I'll hit W, passing through. Ooh, okay, so I'm moving, right? This is kind of inefficient and a little bit silly and yeah, just wildly inefficient, right? So we got when I press and release, it's closing, opening, closing, opening, closing, and that gate's opening up. This will work, but it's just really messy and not efficient. So let's go into let's compile and save. Let's go File, sorry, Edit, Project Settings. This will bring up our project, and I want to go to Engine and then Input. So we have our input here. And we can have all sorts of input, like touch, virtual joysticks on a phone, all that crazy stuff. Really fun. But let's just stick with the traditional stuff here. We have our action mappings and our axis mappings. So action mappings are just like you press a button and something happens, which is all well and good, which would be like pause or something like that. You just press a button and things happen. Axis mappings, we've already been using axis mappings. We've been using it with mouse Y and X, right? They have basically an axis value that spits out and is evaluated every frame all the time. And it's pretty cool. Okay, well, let's kind of be a little bit more freeform and kind of plan ahead with our project. Because when we start building this, say if we built this all with like mouse and keyboard, and then we wanted to introduce controller support. we would be like, okay, so all right, so get the Boolean if the mouse is, yeah, like to check and be like, what controller scheme do you want? What are you using? Okay, to check that all the time and change things up, it just becomes a mess. So in this, you can do all sorts of stuff, and I'll show you. So we're just going to create an axis mapping. So we'll call this, we'll just call this look up, right? And awesome, right? So we've called that look up, and look up can be look up on a keyboard, on a mouse, on a gamepad, on an iPhone, on your Android. Like look up can be like, okay, well, look up, and just let behind the scenes figure out what device you're on and what you're using. Yeah, so what's look up? Well, look up would be mouse Y, right? Y is up, and the scale, that must look familiar, right? So let's go to my char. So we'll go and we'll look up. Oh, look at that. That's the event that we just made. Very nice. And it's basically the same. Sorry. That'd be down here. So look up, we're going to replace with the add controller pitch input. Just drag that in there. And then we'll just plop that in there. And yeah, let's give it a test. Are we looking up? Hey, we're looking up. It's reversed again, but it's a little bit more, I guess, agnostic to what you're plugging into it. I'll explain that a little bit deeper. We can add to this more functionality, right? Gamepad, right? So gamepad right, thumbstick Y will also be look up. You know what I mean? And we can have all this different stuff here and keep on going. PS4, Steam control, like touch, everything. We don't need to get into it. It's built into the engine here, which is really cool. And I can set the scale to -1. I can also do this at runtime to do the same thing that I did here to kind of invert it because, oops, because I don't like it. Right, so now I'm moving. Nice, and that's evaluated every frame. Let's look and add some more axis mappings here. Let's add some more axis mappings. Let's look at this, and we'll go look right and left. Right, and this will be the mouse X. Type that in. Mouse X, and we'll just quickly debug here. And yeah, they'll all be here. Input axis, which is basically custom input events. Go left, right. Oh, no, wrong one. Sorry. Drop that in there. Get the axis value, things like that. Play. I keep doing that. Crap. Come on. There we go. So nice. Okay, so it's effectively doing that, and that is awesome. I thoroughly enjoy. So I can get rid of the mouse X and the mouse Y and make those all nice and neat there. And yeah, basically that's all I need to do there for the time being. So yeah, we'll do that. This W, we're going to replace that, right? And that would be with a, we'll call it move forward, right? We'll create, oh, no, not that one. Create another one. Move back, right? And move right. Move left. Okay, so move forward will be the W key. Move back will be the S key. Move right will be the D key. And then move left will be the A key. All right. Well, that should do it. We'll figure out. I'll explain the scale. So we got move forward and move back. Should I be doing this? You know what? I'm going to. So you kind of figure, okay, move forward W, move back S, move right D, move left A. I mean, that works well, but we're working with kind of scalar values, and this is too much information that we want to use, right? For the sake of time, and because I know you're smart, let's just get rid of the move back and the move left. Let's call this move forward and back. And you're thinking, how are you doing this? How are you going to do forward and back with one input? Well, you'll see in a second. Move right and left, basically strafe, right? Let's get W. Let's get forward working, right? So we'll go move left and right, and then move forward and back. Get rid of W. And yeah, these are evaluated every frame, which is dope. Okay, so let's do our move forward and back, plug this in. Same thing as before, get our forward vector, our axis value, right? And yeah, when we hit play, we're moving forward. Nice. All right, well, that's cool. So what do we do now if we want to move back? Well, we have to add S key, oops, S space key, right? And we'll set that scale to -1. How's that going to work? Well, just works, right? This will, when we hit W, this will spit out positive value of 1. When we hit S, this will spit out -1, right? And that'll say, get this world direction and then invert it. So go backwards, right? And yeah, there we go. Moving forward and back, forward and back. Yes, so we have almost a game now. We can't strafe. Let's add that in. So we have this, and yeah, we're going to use the same node here. I copied and pasted, so I'll just plug that in, right? And axis value in here. So what do we do? What do we do with this one, right? We get the forward vector, but we plug this in. How are we going to do it so that, like, when we say, hey, my dude, move left and right, go that way in relation to your forward vector. There's a function built in, and what you can do is, well, we'll get the camera because that's our reference for which direction we're facing. It's a pretty good direction. That, and then we'll do, let's go get right. get right vector. So it basically takes the forward vector and then gets the math to make it whatever the right is. So look forward and then take your right hand and point it parallel to the ground. And basically, if you had lasers out of your ear on your right side, that would be your right vector, right? So it's like what is directly to your right. Hopefully that made sense. So yeah, it'll take the right vector, give that, move in that direction. The left, it will invert that and move it in the left direction, right? So let's give that a try. Nothing is working, and I'm wondering why. Let's not panic. So D is set to that. Let's add A key, and I'll set that to the opposite of the D key. And I want to look at that. Right, we're moving forward, but we're not moving left and right. So why is that? So this would be an example of debugging. So let's just for a sanity check, let's just print string. All right, so we'll say what's coming out of this. Oops. There's no values coming out of that there, which is concerning. So left, right. What did I do? Move right and left. Move right and left. Oh, save it? I must have. All right, so moving forward there, but we're not moving there. So hold on. Okay, false alarm. If you caught it, congratulations. So the the input axis I'm trying to get is the look right and left when I want the move right and left. So yeah, these things happen. You get hung up on the stupidest things. Let's get that in there. Let's get the axis value in there. And we'll hit play. And we are in business, strafing, looking around, moving, all sorts of fun stuff. So yeah, double check. Yeah, print string is very useful. I knew when I wasn't getting anything from that, I was like, first thought was, I don't need to save that, right? Because you don't compile the input. It's in editor. It's rebuilt every time you launch. So yeah, I don't know. I was just looking at that. So yeah, that's cool. We got our mouse, our player look, and our movement, which is like 54 minutes for all of these nodes here, right? But I'm sure. Well, I hope it was valuable. You learned a bit. I could have put all these together in a couple seconds, but this is what you do. But no one explains why you do it. So there's that. So yeah, let's take a look at this here. So before we exit, you want to save your level, and we'll just go save all, and then the level, save level as, we'll call it my level, and the level will point to the game mode, right? So you have to have the game mode set in each level, because like a level could be the menu screen, and that'd be a different game mode, different camera, different controller, all that fun stuff. Change things up that way. It's just a super efficient way of sorting that out, and then we can save all there. So I hope you enjoyed, hope you learned stuff. Oh, back into project settings and then map, right? So the editor startup map, we glue that in there, it'll just be my level. Nice. So when we open it up, we'll just open up here and we can build more functionality as we go. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed, hope you learned stuff, take care and have a good one.